Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. Back in August, the City of Swift Current announced its partnership agreement with the Elmwood Golf and Country Club, a project which the city has agreed to loan the funds for. The 2nd Avenue overpass is a major traffic artery in Swift Current, and like any structure over time, requires repairs to ensure its safety and longevity. The history and varied cultural influences of the area were in the spotlight, with something to see and do for all ages during the annual Culture Days weekend. Thanks for joining us here today. The Elmwood Golf Course expansion continues to move forward, with the City of Swift Current covering the financing for the project. We have more in today's top story. Back in August, the City of Swift Current announced its partnership agreement with the Elmwood Golf and Country Club and the intentions to enhance the golf course while developing 76 premium residential lots within the golf course area. The cost for the upgrades to the course over the next 5 years are valued at $2.4 million, a project which the city has agreed to loan the funds for. In doing so, the city has now increased its own debt load and established a revolving line of credit until Elmwood starts paying it back 5 years from now. The city's chief financial officer states with this latest project with Elmwood, City Council only needs to approve the request for a line of credit borrowing by law. And despite the overall increase in borrowing by the city for this project, the city's debt load still falls in line within the perimeters approved by the province.
It's currently at $75 million, and currently we're at 67.5, and it'll be reduced by another 1.2 before the end of the year.
And as far as the overall implication to the local taxpayer, Marcus continues to stress Elmwood will cover the principal and interest on the loan starting in 5 years. And the city will reap the rewards from increased tax revenue collected from the new residential property development.
There's no cost whatsoever to the taxpayers. The cost of the line of credit is added on to the line of credit, and then it's reduced by the $20,000 that will be applied from the lots, and then whatever's left over at the end of the day is what would be rolled into the principal and interest payments that the Elmwood Golf Course will make. The benefit to the city at the end of the day is there's the equivalent of 78 residential lots that are now paying taxes to the city. So the city gets a guaranteed cash flow going forward in the future of a conservative estimate. It'd be about $100,000 a year in tax revenue that's paid every year.
Upgrades to the Elmwood Golf Course are anticipated to take 5 years, with lots in the new Elmwood subdivision available for sale in 2015. Repairs are on the horizon for a major overpass in Swift Current. We have more in this report. The 2nd Avenue overpass is a major traffic artery in Swift Current, with hundreds of vehicles traveling across it on a daily basis. And like any structure over time, requires repairs to ensure its safety and longevity. City Council has now approved $194,700 to hire AECom for the detailed design and construction services for the project, which stems from an initial bridge assessment in 2010.
Life expectancy of the expansion joints are about 15 years, so it's time to have a look and see. So AECom will do a detailed assessment now of what all needs to be done, but it sounds like the asphalt needs to be removed, the pavement deck, or the concrete deck, and the expansion joints all need to be replaced.
Minkin adds that all bridges in the city are inspected on an annual basis for safety and general wear and tear, with the last major work on this 54-year-old bridge dating back to 1991.
We do guardrail maintenance about every year. We have, we usually have an accident every year or two that somebody runs into the guardrail. The other, we just did a repair work on the base of the bridge. We had an accident where a large piece of equipment, over height load, was run into the bridge, and we just did some maintenance this last year to fix the beams of the bridge.
He further states that as the city grows, Consideration will be taken to build an overpass at South Railway and Highway 4, which is now estimated at approximately $15 million.
That second bridge is always there in our plans, in the long-term plan. So we're always looking for assistance through the way of joint grants or anything that might come along to assist us with looking at building that, just like other cities have gotten.
Upgrades to the 2nd Avenue overpass in Swift Current are scheduled to start in the spring of 2015 and last approximately 8 to 10 months. The annual Culture Days weekend in Swift Current was a hit with all ages. We bring you some of the highlights in this report. The history and varied cultural influences of the area were in the spotlight, with something to see and do for all ages during the annual Culture Days weekend. The library in Swift Current offered classes on making shadow puppets, which were a hit with the younger crowd. A walk through the art gallery offered a first-hand look at the world of pottery through on-site demonstrations, followed by the chance to create one's own masterpiece.
We're kind of themed with the Hanson Ross history exhibition. I mean, it's a wonderful show of very significant work by the Hanson Ross studio, and that show comes to us from the Moose Jaw Museum and Art Gallery. We've had a couple hundred students over the last couple of days come for tours, as well as this weekend. Looks like it's going to be really busy. The demo in the pottery studio has been a big hit. You know, kids watching, they think it's magic, which it kind of is, and mesmerizing and fun. But that's what Culture Days is all about: is coming out and seeing how artwork is made and seeing some nice examples of things that can be done, and then getting together and playing, and making art yourself.
Meanwhile, over at the Swift Current Museum, the construction of this sod house took visitors back in time while getting a history lesson of the early pioneers to the area.
Well, I guess it goes back to last year for the Picnic in the Park program. We made a sod house out of makeshift products, and it's like a make-believe sod house. We thought, well, this year let's make a real sod house and really show the school children in the community how it was done, as rudimentary as it is, but just to sort of bite off a new project that hasn't been done before. About 9 or 10 classes a day came by, and they did a little rotationary. We ran a circuit, and each of them cut a brick of sod, and each of them placed a brick of sod in the sod house behind me.
A full lineup of activities, which was pleasing to local patrons.
Oh, it's really great. It's so nice that Swift Current can give families an opportunity to see, what went on way back then, and I wish I lived back in the day and lived in a sod house.
Culture Days is a national celebration marked every year during the last weekend of September. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at MyLocalTV.ca. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.